What's going on, everybody? It's your boy HOG Broad King, back today with another Kingdom Hearts Union Cross video. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that it's easier for me to stream and upload as a video opposed to record and upload due to the amount of storage on my phone. I don't feel like going through all the extra stuff just to get it to work, so bear with me. Then on top of that, I didn't feel like doing the whole record, delete, try to edit. I'm just gonna go with it because usually that's what works for me. But today's a video trying to explain as easily and visually possible as possible on buffs in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. Buffs are a serious thing nowadays. It's the meta. It's the way to go. If you don't have buffs, you'll quickly understand that your medals will start doing 1/1/1 damage non-stop. So hopefully I can try to simplify this and make it visually easy for you guys to understand. And please be advised that there's way too many factors, way too many numbers, way too many imaginary things out there to try to give you guys a full understanding. But from my personal experience, hopefully I can help you guys understand the way I understand it. Be advised, again, there's a lot of trial and error, a lot of RNG, a lot of things that will not go your way from time to time. So you're going to have to get to know, like eventually in these upcoming videos, you'll hear me say a lot, know your medals. You're going to have to learn to know your medals. Because if you do not know your medals, you won't understand why certain things do what they do. Understand what a buff is, understand what a debuff is, understand the difference between a general attack buff up opposed to a power or a speed or a magic, attack buff up. And like I said, don't try to get, don't try to understand everything fully and entirely, because I guarantee you it's going to be extremely hard to understand exactly everything down to a T. It shouldn't be that hard if you focus. So hopefully visually you'll be able to understand exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get to it. For starters, let's go to some medals. The first thing I want you guys to understand is what a buff is. So buffs, let's go to buffs. If you look at the types over here, there are certain types of buffs. The one with the sword by itself is a general attack buff. And the one with the sword and all of the gems in it, those are, that's called a PSM. That's power, speed, and magic buff. There are two distinct differences. General buffs, as you'll see here, all these medals only buff up general attack. So it deals 5 damage, so it raises strength by 3 tiers. For those who don't know, the tier level right now in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross goes up to 7. So 7 is the most you can raise. Trust me, you do not need 7. As of right now, 3 to 4 will get you everything you need. Even if you have 2, you can still go by with 2. But some kind of buff is better than no kind of buff. So just to be clear, this is a general attack buff. And this focuses on your power, your speed, and your magic attribute buffs. They are very different, and I'll show you why. And then medals like, I'll use Maui. Raises power-based strength by 3 tiers for 3 attacks. So that means Maui is only going to help boost something that's super effective towards, or super effective against power, or power going against that type of medal. So if you try to buff a power medal, or if you try to give a power buff to a magic medal, it's not going to do anything for you. That's just not like what it's for. But let me start by trying to give some visual input so you guys understand where I'm coming from. Like I said, don't try to grasp it fully, but hopefully this gives you a clear understanding about certain things. So let me show you why buffs and debuffs are important. There are plenty of mobs or monsters out there. Obviously, levels make a difference. It also makes a difference with how much health they have. It makes a difference with how much damage they'll take. It makes a difference with how much. It makes a difference with how much damage they'll deal to you. And I'll explain why real quick. Okay, so let's start off with a very low monster. I mean, I keep saying monster. A very low enemy real quick. It's level 45. So the setup, I'll be switching between a few setups, but you'll get a pretty good understanding of why real quick. So this is just going to show you the difference between a low level enemy and a high level enemy. He's level 45. So if I swipe, it's 1500. So you see these medals, even though I'm on a Keyblade where they're not favored at all. This is a speed Keyblade with not a single power or magic slot, because these medals are power and magic. So the fact that their level is so low, it's still strong enough to do damage. Now watch this one. This is a speed medal on a speed blade. And that one did 5,000, so it's a noticeable difference. Now watch what happens when I switch it over to higher level enemy, because obviously, you know, the game has changed significantly since then. So the stage you see me use the most is probably going to be around 400, because 300 to 400 is when things start to get really hard, and you really have to focus on buffs and debuffs. But again, I'll explain why shortly. So I'm going to try the same swipe I did before. These are obviously stronger enemies. So the same swipe I did before, if I'm not mistaken, should obviously do 1 this time. All of those do 1. That means that the defense of this medal is so strong, and the attack of your current medals aren't strong enough to penetrate the defense. That's why it's doing 1 damage. But even then, with 0 buffs, watch what happens when I attack with this medal. You see that? Even attacking a medal like that with 0 buffs does nothing. That's because the level 400 enemy has a stronger general defense than my medal's, I guess, current attack. Trying to understand exact numbers won't help. Trust me, it's no way you can figure out exactly what enemy has what amount of defense in it. It's not worth it. So again, visually, hopefully this helps out. Now here's why I say buffs and debuffs are very important. Now going up against the same enemy, and with I could have sworn I saw attack boost 4 activate, and it still did 1 damage. Now watch what happens when I put on at least 3 general attack up. So remember, raises strength by 3 tiers. The max is 7. 3 tiers allowed me to do damage. Watch. So you see now, it does 2,800. So roughly 3,000 per hit. That's with 3 tiers of damage. So that's a general attack up by 3. Allow a medal that did 1 damage to do 3,000. So now watch what happens when you raise it up by 6, what the difference is. Now note, everybody's not going to have these 3 attack ups, these 6 attack ups, these things don't have stuff like that. So it's going to be okay. You're not going to need all of that to be successful, but just once you get a grasp of how they work, hopefully it'll help. So now 3 allowed me to do 3k damage. So let's try 6. What does 6 do? So 6 allowed me to do 5k damage, and that's without the attack boost 4 activating. So you see how the more you have, the better it helps, because that means your medal's overall attack is stronger than that medal's overall defense. Now note, the higher the enemy's level is, the higher defense they have, which means you have to buff yourself higher than them to do more damage, or you can debuff them as well. Just how medals have a buff, they also have a debuff. But now let me show you the difference between the general attack up, and I'm going to show you the difference between PSM or like a specific type of attack up. You saw how when I use 1 of the 3 general attack ups, it did about 3k damage. So watch what happens when I give it a magic attack up. This is going to raise magic base strength. The only reason why I'm using this here, of course, some people are saying, okay, well, how does a magic base, buff increase something against a speed base? Typically it doesn't, but the KDG medal, that's like the abbreviation for it, the reason why he's going to benefit from that buff is because he ignores a target's attributes. So that means his is mainly, regardless of what type he goes up against, he's always going to be super effective against it if you activate his attack. So he can benefit from a buff, from a magic, a speed, or or a power if he's going up against those types of enemies. Now note, that's because he benefits, he still has to be placed on a speed slot. You can't put a speed medal on a power slot or a magic slot and expect him to be okay. That's still not how it works. So there are some things that still take into consideration, but again, that's for another day. So now watch what happens when I give him the magic buff. You see? That still does 1 damage. And that's because even though he has a higher level of magic buff, his regular attack, his overall attack isn't strong enough to penetrate, again, the defense of that strength of a monster. So even if I switch it around some and I give him 6, I can give him 6 magic. Because now you saw how with 3 strength up and 3 strength, with 3 and 6 strength on his regular attack, it'll allow me to do some damage and then more. Even when I give him 6, if my correction is right, even if I give him 6 on the magic, he's still going to do 1. That's because his overall defense is still weaker. I mean, his overall defense of the enemy is still stronger than my overall attack, because I haven't raised the overall attack. I've only raised the effectiveness of his attribute. So I don't want to confuse you guys, because again, there's attribute buffs and then there's general attack buffs. So this should do 1 damage with attack boost 4 proccing or not. See? It still does 1, and again, that's because his general attack is still not strong enough to penetrate the defense. Now, watch what happens when you combine the two. Here's one thing I tell people: you're gonna have to get to know your medals, because if you don't know your medals, you won't understand half this stuff, and you have to know what certain things do. So I hope you come into the stream or to this video with some sort of a clear mind or some sort of understanding what some of these things even mean. So watch what happens when I mix the two. If I give him a 3 on the magic buff up, and I give him 3 on the strength up, he's back up to 3k. So I know some people are trying to figure out why. Well, now does he have 2 times the buff, but why how come the damage didn't increase? That's again because the overall attack still isn't strong enough to overcome his overall defense. Even if you stack on that amount, his level is 400, so his defense is ridiculously high right now. So what you would have to do in order to make that magic buff even effective at all, you're gonna have to increase his overall damage output, like his base stat, I guess. General attack focuses on his base stat. That base is going to increase. That base damage is going to help. And then once you do like an attribute buff, that's going to help towards his attribute going up against another monster. I keep saying monster, Jesus. That's from like the last game, I'm sorry. But watch what happens when I give him 6 on his general attack plus the magic at that point. Because now remember, I want to say he did around 7k or somewhere around there. Let me just do another run just so I can verify real quick. If I just did the strength buff up again, so that's 1. So that's 6 tiers so far. You see the sword, that's 6 tiers. He does 5k. So without it proccing, he does 5k. So it's still better than the 3 he did with just 3. So now watch what happens when, hopefully Attack Boost 4 won't proc, but I'm pretty sure it probably will. I probably have to rerun it. But watch what happens when, I do, he's going to get a magic buff and 6 of the general attack. Now it should be a major increase, not even a major, but a noticeable increase in damage, because his overall attack, his base attack is higher than his base defense. That's how I was able to do damage opposed to doing the 1, plus the attribute. Now the attribute should make a difference. And of course, the attack boost 4 with proc. But you see now went from 5 to 9k. So I want to say if it didn't proc, I'd probably be doing like 7k ish. So I'll try it again to, to see if it'll proc. If it won't proc, that's funny. I never want skills not to actually proc, but when of course I don't want it to proc, it procs. But like I said, now with a mixture of the two, you see it does increase damage. So of course you're never gonna know what's gonna do exactly what until you understand what everything does. So hopefully this won't proc. Okay, so there we go again. That's the 5k damage on that. I want to say, wait, did he do more? Actually, I think he did the same. I think he did the same with just the 6. So that even then, that just goes to show that that 6 on the attack up still wasn't strong enough to be affected with the magic attack up. So let's see if he still does 5k. Why does this thing keep going off? Hold on, give me just a second. All right, guys, I'm back. I sincerely apologize. I had ordered pizza, and the pizza guy was here. But okay, where was I? Oh yeah, I was trying to show you the difference between why is this still up? Can that not go away? There we go. Okay. So now, you see how... Oh. I know exactly where I was at. I'm sorry. That means that even with the 6 attack up, the attribute of the magic on top of it did not help at all whatsoever. Even with the mix. So the issue is his general defense. His defense was so high that it would not allow us to do more damage, regardless of the amount of buffs we put on top of him. So now, watch what happens when we lower. Watch what happens when we lower his defense. I'll use this guy for an example. Let's swap it around. Okay, here we go. Let's lower his defense, for example. And this is another reason why traits are extremely important later on also. And again, that's for another video. But let me show you why lowering the defense is a major thing as well. So now, remember, I don't know if you guys can recall, that attacking by itself with no buffs or debuffs did absolutely nothing. It did 1 damage. So now watch what happens when I lower his defense by 1 tier. Even dropping the defense down 1 was just enough for us to do damage. Now don't forget, he had no buffs. No buffs at all, but his defense was high enough to the point where if we lower it just by 1 tier, lowering defense is so crucial in this game, trust me. Lowering the defense by just 1 tier without any buffs allowed us to do 2k damage. Now watch what happens when you combine the 3. Lowering the defense and combining everything is going to make a ridiculous difference. Watch. Just to save face. Let's lower the defense, increase the magic by 3, and increase the regular base attack by 3. And let's see what happens. Like I said, I may have to do, a few other videos on the subject. Hopefully just visually, seeing damage inputs and outputs, you'll be able to see why and how things work. So I'm going to lower the defense by 1 tier. I'm going to increase my magic buff by 3 tiers. I'm going to increase my... Let me stop. Correction, that last medal removes buffs. So I definitely did that all out of order. Make sure you watch your medals as well so they don't cancel each other out. So let me switch the order around. There we go. All right. I'm going to raise the attack, lower the defense, and raise my own general. I'm going to raise the general attack, debuff his general defense, and then raise my magic attack. So it's going to be 3 attack up, 1 defense down, and 3 magic attack up. Let's see what happens. I think the most damage you were able to do was, I want to say, like 9k. Now watch what happens when I raise everything and lower his defense. 13,000. Then we do 9 the first time, all the way to high. Now it's 13,000 because his defense has lowered to a point where my attack up and my magic attack up is affecting him. That's why you guys have to, like I said, it's honestly all just trial and error. Like I said, the higher the enemy's level, usually around 300 to 400 and up, that's when your magic and your magic, your strength, and your speed buffs and debuffs start to matter less, and the general attack and general defense matter more. And that's only because the medal's HP, medal's level, the higher the level, the higher their base stats. So the moment you lower their base stats, again, you'll never know how much is enough until it's trial and error over and over and over and over and over until you figure out, until you visually see what does what. You'll never know how much is exactly needed. But always a mixture. Most Keyblade setups have a mixture or a setup that's similar to, let's choose a different medal real quick. For example, like this. This is your overall general buff and debuff type of setup. It's got a 3 attack up. It's got a 1 on the general defense down. This is just a gauge restore, but it also, on top of restoring gauges, it increases your speed, magic, and attack by up 1, and it lowers theirs down by 1. So now, by the time these 3 medals have activated, you have 3 attack up, 1 general defense down on the enemy. You're going to have 1 on your magic speed and power attack up. They're going to have 1 down on the magic speed and power defense down. And then on top of all that, 3 attack on the magic buff up. And then that's your final damage dealer. The reason why I did not use this setup to show you guys is because this is one of the special medals that he not only ignores the attributes, but he already lowers the tiers by 2 turns. So watch what happens when a setup like this is put into play against an enemy like that. But when your standard setup like this is put into play, it's a game changer. That's why you guys have to understand what these buffs and debuffs and attributes, what these things do and don't do. And like I said, trial and error, people. It's always going to be trial and error. It's always going to be things where, well, I tried this, I mixed this, I stopped that. It's going to take time. You have to realize what you have, what you don't have, what you can use, what you have to use what you have and go with it. Like I said, unless you pull or you get lucky or they start giving out other medals, it's going to be okay. Like I said, unless you spend, a crap ton of money and you pull for days and get everything you want, then hey, then you'll get everything you want. If not, just sit around and wait, and hopefully we get enough jewels to be able to pull and you get these medals with all these effects, because the game is still changing and the meta is still changing, and you'll be able to get what you need in due time. But again, all right, we're going to start off with 3 attack up. That's 3 on the strength attack up. It's the defense down by 1. That was just ignore the damage part on that. That's just a buff up and a debuff down. Hopefully this one won't kill the enemy. Okay, so it definitely did. All right. But either way, I couldn't get to the end damage medal, but you see the amount of damage that one did, and that's only because my general attack was up, my defense on the enemy was down, the magic speed and power attack on myself was up, and it was down, their defense was down. So if they have 2 debuffs, I have 2 buffs, and on top of that, this third medal gave me another 3 on my magic. So now I have 3 regular attack, 1 regular general defense going down, a boost to my attributes up 1, a debuff to their attributes down 1, and then 4. That's another 3 on top of that. That's 4 on the attributes going up on my end. That's why I was able to do 70,000 damage easy. So again, like I said, it's honestly going to be a whole bunch of trial and error doing this. Make setups, try it out. Just keep trying and trying and trying, because again, it's going to take time. It's not something that you can rush unless you really understand it. And everybody, won't have the same things, the same setups. Some free-to-play players obviously going to have a harder time because majority of the medals I were using, some of them were VIP medals, but as long as you can grasp or get an understanding of what a general attack buff up does and a general defense down debuff does, and what a magic, a power, a strength, a tribute up buff does, and a debuff does, it becomes a cakewalk. Because then at that point you'll have so many different random setups that you'd probably never use on a daily basis, but they work. Like for instance, like that's how it allowed me to get to I think I made it to tier 14 in the Coliseum, and I just got bumped out of 1,000. Yep. So right now I'm sitting at 1,200. So until I get, because the setup I use, I don't have enough general defense down on the enemy, because right now I would need a medal that does 2 defense down on all the enemies. I have plenty of medals that do 2 defense down on a single target, but until I get a trait or whatever that gives me, you know, ×2 general defense down, my medals can't deal enough damage to everyone in order to do damage. Yeah, I can't do damage to do damage. That's funny. I can't lower their defense low enough for my medals to do damage to everyone. Only one target. So, but I'm not gonna keep rambling. I know this is an extremely long video. Most of you won't watch the entire thing, but it's okay. Feel free to leave me any questions, comments, concerns. If there are certain things you did not understand, but again, just it's trial and error. It's trial and error. It is trial and error. It's random in terms of it's not random in terms of what's gonna work. It's just you won't know until you try it. So don't be afraid to mix up certain things. Don't be afraid to put, you know, this medal behind that medal and see if it'll do this and see if it'll do that. Because like I said, the game is obviously changing. The events have gone all the way up to, you know, 470, and I'm pretty sure it's a whole lot higher than that. Yeah, a whole lot higher than that on some of this other stuff as well. So, and the higher the enemy's level, the more you have to worry about raising your attack and lowering their defense primarily, and then focus on buffing yourself attribute wise afterwards. Because regardless of how much attribute buff you have, the general attack and general, regardless of how much of your attribute buff you have, if their defense is high enough or too high or higher than your base attack, you won't do any damage to it. So again, primarily focus on knowing where your threshold is on your medals, where your attack, your base attack needs to be higher than their defense, or you have, you know, if the enemies are lower when your attribute buffs become more into effect or are more effective at that point, opposed to, you know, general attack and defense. But that's enough. I'm probably confused half you guys. I'll probably make another video about this. There is a series to come, not necessarily a series, but a guide. This is technically video 4 out of 3, but I'm going to record it out of order. I'm going to do this one first. So hopefully while I explain the other guides, but I'm coming out with 3 other guides, a beginner's, an intermediate, and an expert's guide to success on how to play Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. Because I know some people get left in the dark. Some people aren't a part of Reddit. Some people aren't a part of Discord. Some people don't use Google that much, so they don't understand this game. And it's okay. I mean, no one has to be, you know, a super expert. But from my knowledge, my experience of playing this game, as long as I've been playing it, which hasn't been a very, very, very long time. I've been playing this game for since it wants to load. I've been playing this game for 227 days, so not even a full year yet. There are people who've been playing it, you know, for 4 years and some change, however long it's been out, and are way better than me, obviously, because I'm definitely not #1 or anything. But I understand where a free-to-play player is coming from and where some pay-to-win players are coming from, and hopefully getting a better understanding of how to play the game or what certain things do, you know, hopefully make you a better player. It's been real. And again, feel free to let me know. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if you guys want to start seeing featured videos of certain medals, I plan on releasing, you know, guilting videos, trait rolling videos, just overall general talk videos, just to, you know, kind of help out people. And, you know, if you ever want to see a certain quest, you know, a Proud Plus quest, if you ever want to see me run through the story mode, again, hopefully not, but run through the story mode, or run through Proud mode, or, you know, run through Coliseum on a live stream, I have no problem. Just make sure you guys let me know in the comments or message me, and I got no problem. But I've rambled on for well over enough. This video is ridiculously long, so I do apologize. But good luck. Like I said, it takes trial and error. You're gonna have to figure it out. I won't say the same way I did, but hopefully I kind of, gave you a step forward in understanding, that stronger enemies require, a little more attention when it comes to stronger enemies. General attack and general defense become more effective opposed to just, magic power and strength attribute, buff ups and, and debuff downs. But that's enough for today. It's been real people. You guys have a wonderful day and good luck.